What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hope all's good wherever you are. I hope you're having an excellent day. Today we're going to watch a compilation video, a bunch of woke liberals getting owned and getting triggered. Let's get into it.
Where is a systemic issue? Where is a law that's in the system? Where's a policy that's in the system of systemic racism in our country?
I don't want to talk anymore.
Damn, I'm a smooth.
Both genders? Both? Like 1 and 2? Both? There's 2 genders?
Listen, Donald Trump said on this video that he likes kissing pretty women and that...
You don't?
Sir, can I finish?
You like kissing ugly women?
Excuse me. Can I finish my statement, please? Thank you, I don't appreciate that either.
That many people in the party are not aware of their own racism. Let's go back to an early part of this conversation where you said to me, are you concerned about the color in the White House? Why would you ask me that question?
Because you speak about black issues.
No, but why would you ask me that? But let's get to really the nucleus of this. Why did you ask me that question today?
Because I'm
why did you feel that I needed to be
perspective.
concerned about that?
Because you're bringing a whole group of young African-American leaders to the White House.
Okay, so this is something that I talk about often, is that in many ways, white liberals don't realize that you put on that, the racism and the conversations that we have
So you're saying I'm a racist?
You haven't let me finish my statement. You keep cutting me off.
Go ahead.
Okay? The emphasis that you place is always on having a discussion about race, okay? You guys are insistent on having a conversation about race and telling us that we should see, and implying that we should see race everywhere, and I don't agree with that. If you don't look at me according to the color of my skin, you would simply ask me how I thought that Trump was doing as a president. But instead, you try to drum up a conversation that's surrounded by race by asking me, are there enough black people in the White House?
You're bringing a whole group of young black leaders to the White House.
You see color, I don't.
Why was it necessary for you to say Serena couldn't beat the 700th player?
She's the greatest female player that ever lived. Then the lady said to me, why did you say woman? Why don't you just say the greatest tennis player that ever lived? And so then I felt the need, I don't know, just say what I really felt, which is about what I think she would be. I think you're referring to the fact that I said she'd be about 700 in the world.
Yeah. Right. I'm just waiting. Would you like to apologize?
No, because it seems in tennis, unlike other sports that they're always asking about, why don't you combine, just solve the problem? I'm sure the men would be all for this. The men and women play together. And then we don't have to get.
I don't know why this is controversial in 2024 that John McEnroe said that. I mean, Venus and Serena Williams were whooped by a guy in his 50s on the same day. I think it was ranked 200 and something. Again, the guy was in his 50s and he beat both of them 6-1 and 6-0. We're not built the same, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like the Olympic records for, say, sprinting, I'll use sprinting as everybody can relate to running. The men's record will always be vastly superior than the women's. And if the women's competed in the men's sprinting at the Olympics with the men, the best woman in the would place, like John McEnroe said, probably around 700, 800. It's not even close. We have way more muscle mass. We have a higher capacity for oxygen, longer limbs, testosterone. Give it up. Give it up, wokies. Let's keep going.
Now listen up, you silly liberal fruitcakes. I came out here, I wanted to tell some jokes. Let's do some reality checks here. Do you have any idea, sir, how pathetic it must be to be you? These people wanted to come out and have a good time, hear a few jokes, some thoughtful discussion, but your head pops off the pillow in the morning with, oh, how can I be a professional victim today? Let me go in and screw with their act just because, oh my God, your parents didn't tell you that your opinion wasn't worth that much.
Refugees welcome, the perfect people. Folks, I'm just wondering, you're a part of this organization? You're a part of this organization, yeah? I'm just wondering, I have a sign-up form. I'm just wondering, would you like to sign up? It's to have unvetted male migrants in your own home. Would you like to sign up? Sir? I'm not in a position. You're not in a position. So who would you suppose would house them then? Would anyone like to house unvetted male migrants in their home? One person? Anyone? I have a sign-up form. They're welcome. I don't have a house. There's a housing crisis. Who would like to house an unvetted male migrant in their home? Anyone? No one. My God. Absolutely no one. Zero. I literally have a sign-up form right here. So where do we house them? Where do we house them? It's a complex issue, just once you understand, but absolutely no one is going to house any of them in their home, unvetted male migrants. I'm just saying, you're a fucking clown. Okay, would you want to house male migrants in your home? Unvetted male migrants? Yes or no? Yes or no? I'm just asking a question. I don't have a home. I'm not racist. welcome refugees. Just where do we put them?
Brilliant. What a brilliant idea. What do you mean just stop oil? All your stuff is made out of oil, you idiots. Your clothes, these jackets, they're all made out of oil. What the hell are you doing here, making a nuisance of yourselves? It's a joke. Get out the road. You're wasting everybody's time and petrol. All these guys, their engines are running all the time, wasting more bloody oil, you nutters. What is this made out of? What are your clothes made out of? How did your clothes get here? They got here by oil. What are you doing? This makes no sense at all. Just stop oil. You haven't thought about this. If you want to stop oil, you need to stay at home and go and live in a forest.
If I ever this, will I be gay? You might be a combination of a bunch of sexuality.
Is agreeing with the business case of the airlines in terms of obesity.
That's greed, and that's just greed.
Okay.
Well, you think you're a perfect
Yeah.
example of greed, Sweet Pea, because you weigh 25 stone.
Actually,
Did you guys see this? Southwest Airlines has announced that even if the plane is fully booked, this is their language, not mine, if a person of size requests a second seat, they can get the second seat at no extra charge, and somebody's getting bumped. And no, I am not making this up. I saw it on the news. A lovely lady and her family, her 2 kids, got kicked off an airline, were asked to leave the next day on the next flight going to their destination, and they didn't even get any compensation for it. Tall people don't get any benefits when they fly, and they can't do anything about how tall they are. When you're as they call, a person of size, well, there's a lot you could do to mitigate that.
If you can identify with a different gender, why can't you identify with a different race?
The biological side of it, because race has no biological connections whatsoever. It's purely based off of physical appearances.
I just asked you if it was biological. You said yes.
Is recognized off of skin color. If you weren't on skin color your whole
Right,
life.
because it's biological.
Or I mean, sex has biological backings, but gender is not. Gender is a spectrum.
Ma'am or sir, I'm not sure. I didn't misgender you, did I?
Oh, please, go fuck yourself.
Oh, that's not very ladylike.
Oh, now you're fucking misgendering me. Ladylike.
Oh, well, what are you exactly?
None of your fucking business. What are you?
But you said I misgendered you. If I don't know what you are, how can I not misgender you?
behind us there are, I think they said, the silent majority. They're Trump supporters kind of doing a protest or something, and you just shouted something. Can you repeat what you're saying?
I told them to keep America. Of course, I don't believe that. But I think that's what they believe. So we need to call them out on it every single time.
Absolutely. What makes you think that just those people over there would support that?
Well, they support the president. The president's...
Okay.
I mean, it's kind of those logical, problems
so
that you do.
Something that I see a lot of people, a lot of Trump supporters ask is, where is the proof that he is? Do you want to set that to bed and give us the proof?
I would say every other tweet would be proof right there. When he talks about African Americans, when he only calls out African American athletes, for whatever malfeasance he sees.
You have testified as to a lot of your own research. So I'm curious for what purpose you do that and what background you have to qualify you to speak to that.
Well, my background that qualifies me to speak to this is that I'm a human being with a brain and common sense, and I have a soul. And so, therefore, I think it's a really bad idea to chemically castrate children. That is my experience.
It's wild now that we've gotten to the point that people say, well, what's your expertise? What's your qualifications that say that you're qualified to speak about castrating young boys and doing double mastectomies to little girls? Yeah, common sense, buddy. Common sense.
So you think it's fine to say to religious people that they are prohibited from gathering outside, wearing a mask, socially distanced? They can't do it. But if you want to come and protest and defund the police, if you want to support that, that's fine. You can gather en masse, person to person, close up, thousands of people. That's okay. That discrimination's okay. That's your position.
Senator, that is not my position.
It was your position. It's what you argued.
I did not write these orders. What I said.
You defended it in court, and you just articulated to me what I take to be your position. Why were the restrictions that you defended struck down as discriminatory? Why were they? You know the facts. You're a good lawyer. Why'd you lose?
Senator.
Oh, come on, Judge. Don't make me do this. Do you want me to go through it for you? You lost because Mayor Bowser was going to mass protests herself personally with thousands of people. At the same time she was doing that, she was prohibiting churches, religious people, from gathering socially distanced outside wearing masks.
What we do is we annualise our figure to full-time. So we look at all part-time employees and full-time employees that may have worked part of a 12-month period, and we annualise that data to take into account part-time hours. So therefore we're converting the part-time hours to full-time, if you like.
So do you take into account the fact that on average a male full-time employee works longer hours than a female full-time employee?
Not directly, no.
You think that at this point we would have covered the gender pay gap enough in our society that people would know the discrepancy is not there? Well, I think it is there. I think it's like 1% or something of the sorts when all the numbers get crunched. It's nothing. But yet you got Muppets like this lady still trying to prove a point and not even doing the numbers correctly. Make it make sense.
Which one of you's from the New York Times? You know there's only 2 genders, right? There's only 2 genders, and they know that in Iowa. I challenge the New York Times reporter and the Washington Post reporter to try to milk a cow and then try to milk a bull and see how that goes.
My choice! My choice! My choice! My choice! My choice!
The most famous young man in Australia, after cracking the joke that reduced the Today Show host to quivering wrecks of laughter. What was the joke?
A vegan and a vegetarian are jumping off a cliff to see who will hit the bottom first. Who wins?
I don't know. Who wins?
Society.
Any other jokes up your sleeve?
Back in your day, you had Wonder Woman. In my day, we wonder if it is a woman.
Try me! Trump! 2020! Trump! 4 more years! 4 more years! What, try you? I mean, I got big ass ears and I can barely hear you.
We've got quite a large pay dispute happening with our Australian women's soccer team at the moment. Is it frustrating for you as someone who's so prominent in your sport? And we heard you say on the Ellen show the other day you are the richest fighter in UFC, that sort of thing is still going on?
I think that how much you get paid should have something to do with how much money you bring in. I'm the highest paid fighter not because Dana and Lorenzo wanted to do something nice for the ladies. They do it because I bring in the highest numbers. They do it because I make them the most money. And I think that the money that they make should be proportionate to the money that they bring in.
Yeah, Ronda Rousey, she brought in the numbers. When she was smoking all the girls in the UFC back in the day, her pay-per-view numbers were so high. It was her and Conor McGregor, they had the biggest numbers, and it wasn't even close with anybody else. That's why she got paid. This is not a situation like the WNBA where they say, well, the women should get paid what the men get paid, yet the whole WNBA league is subsidized by the men because no women support these leagues. Women don't go to sports games. Ladies out there, if you really want to make this the thing that you're going to fight for, how about you start supporting whatever sports that you're into and go to the games? That would be a small start towards achieving higher pay.
This book here is called It's Perfectly Normal for Students 10 and up. This book details all kinds of sexual images, pictures of elderly people nude, pictures of an individual who's in a wheelchair with his penis out. All of these sexual graphic images are made available and placed at the fingertips of children. This is immoral and asinine to allow children to be able to see this. Also, this book even shows images of 2 women having sex, a man and a woman having sex, and 2 men having sex. That's not perfectly normal. Who decides what's normal? Is it you? Is it you? Or do parents decide what should be placed at the fingertips and allowed to be taught to their children in the school system? I'll read some of this for you. It says, after a bit, a person's vagina becomes moist and slippery, and the clitoris becomes hard. After a bit, a person's penis becomes stiff and larger. Sometimes a bit of clear fluid that may contain sperm comes out of the tip of the penis and makes it wet.
Sir, I'm sorry.
Was it something I said? If you don't want to hear it in a school board meeting, why should children be able to check it out of the school system? We have perverts that are perverting our kids.
Someone gets rich doesn't mean someone gets poor.
Yes, it does.
Explain that
in
to
this
me.
society, it does.
Explain that to me. When you bought your hat, who got poor?
The people who made the hat.
They voluntarily contributed their labor and they got paid for it.
No, they did not.
They didn't?
There's workers in other countries who are enslaved to make things that I'm wearing right now.
Then why would you buy it?
Because there's no other options in our capitalist country. There are no other options in our capitalist country.
That's totally and factually incorrect. Make your own clothes.
There aren't very many options for that.
Well, so what you're trying to say is you outsource your goods and services in a capital voluntary because you don't want to spend the time to go make your own clothes.
Basing an entire economic system on capital, on wealth, is not the best for each person in the world.
So you would want to live in a communal society, essentially, right? So why don't you go live like the Amish right now and go do it because they live in a communal society?
That's not the point.
I wish that people like her that are pro-socialism, that are pro-communist, that they would just actually try going to these countries that have this type of government in place and just see how it works for them. Just go there yourself. You can visit, you can stay, you can get a visa. Most countries will allow you to naturalize. If you really love it, you can go and live there. See how it works for you. Guarantee you they'll be back to the US real quick. There's a reason why the people from other countries want to enter Western countries, because your chances of economic success are much higher. If you work hard and you make some good decisions, it can change your life. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, everybody. If you did, smash that thumbs up button. Consider subscribing to the channel. Grow. And I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace out, everybody.